we got to talk about Facebook. Is it doomed? Many of you believe it is. Could it become the next MySpace, or is it too big to fail? Well, Facebook lost more than, are you ready for this? $230 billion in value yesterday. I can't even wrap my head around that. And now CEO Mark Zuckerberg may lose his spot on the 10 richest billionaires list after he lost nearly $30 billion personally. So what happened? Well, Mark is blaming rival social media sites like TikTok. Plus, for the first time ever, Facebook is actually losing users. More than 500,000 people deleted their accounts over the last 3 months. So DBL Nation, gotta hear from you. Are you active on Facebook? Please go to our DBL tag board, vote to let us know. What do you think about this, Al? Is Facebook going to be the new MySpace or no?
I don't think so, because I think the only model we have for social media sites is they're under the radar, then they're super popular, then they go away. That's the only model we have. But really, Facebook's the first model that we've had where older people have also been priority users on the site for a long time. MySpace, young people, hey, look at my crazy page. They left, so they took 90% of the audience. Facebook, the younger folks, air quote, they're like just 18, 19-year-olds, they left 7 or 8 years ago. And Facebook has still been going. So they do have a sustained business model. As long as they can retain some of those people, I think what we're seeing more, rather than panicking and be like, is it going away? It's more just a regression to probably where it should be amongst the pack of all social media.
What do you guys, do you use it?
I use it purely for my job a lot, and I also use it because I keep in touch with like like my friends from school. It's a good way to
everybody uses it.
No, I mean, some people scroll Facebook. I don't sit and scroll Facebook, but if I do want to find out about my friend's baby from high school, that's where I'll go. And my mom does really go on Facebook. I think it can be used for good. I just think for me, it got so, during Trump, it got just so politicized, and I had to make boundaries with people that it sort of left a bad taste in my mouth. I don't think it's a bad spot. I just don't think I tend to go there.
What would they need to change in order for Tory? Because I'm sure there's a lot of Tories out there.
Oh, I hope so.
It'd be like the worst world.
Tory here,
Jeff's
Tory
nightmare.
This is my nightmare.
Tory everywhere.
What do they have to do to make you come back on regularly?
Stricter policies on like fake misinformation, and probably get rid of some bots, because to me it's just become not real.
Let me speak on that, okay? Because that's what I wanted to get to. I do, too, think Facebook is good, especially for the older generation. My mom's on there, and it's a good way to connect with my high school friends. There's a lot of positives to Facebook, but there's so many users on there, you're going to have good with the bad, right? So let me point out a couple of things about Facebook that personally I don't like and people need to clean up before people start going back to Facebook. So Tristan Harris, who I love, if you don't know, he's got a podcast called Undivided Attention, also The Social Dilemma. He started Google. He started all this social world with the clicks and the likes and increasing your following. But what he says is Facebook now is trying to take debates and censor them, right, into censorship and free speech and pin people against each other. Because when you fight each other, it brings people to the site. He said that's what Facebook's doing. They're driving people with that. Absolutely. So part of that, in October, this is from October of 2019. Again, this is Tristan Harris. 140 million Americans per month were reached by troll farms on social media, okay? So let me give you some examples. The top 15 Christian pages in America, all run by troll farms.
Will you tell the viewer what a troll farm is? So
meaning these aren't real people. It's bots run from like Eastern Europe, what he says specifically, and they're going onto your feed. Again, 85% of them didn't even accept an invitation to the Christian website. Facebook allowed that because they need to increase their activity. Let me just finish this. The top 15 pages, 2/3 of African American websites run by bots. The top 15 for Native Americans, 1/3 run by troll farms.
Wow.
So all troll farms, people pinning you against each other.
Wow.
You might be fighting with someone that's not even real, and that's what Facebook is doing to increase its following. And I think they need to clean that up. Facebook gets 2 billion fake accounts per quarter. That's 8 billion fake accounts per year. They need to clean that up before people start going back.
But how do they clean it up?
That's like a third of the world.
Thank you for that information.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
But we're asking these companies to be anti-capitalistic. Their job is to go to their shareholders and be like, we increased usership by 100,000.
But they're not just some company down the road, Al. They're influencing people's mindsets.
Yes.
They are influencing elections. If you've seen The Social Dilemma, you'll learn that data is the most valuable asset out there, more than petroleum petroleum. So don't you think it should be a little bit different considering the influence they have?
If you ran Facebook, I would expect it to be, Sam. But the reason that none of us are people that can lose $30 billion in a night and not blink is because we don't have the drive to make money over everything. You're talking about people's thoughts and feelings and the right thing to do. Stop saying that. That's not a thing when you start talking about data, when you start talking about numbers.
I disagree that ethics isn't a thing.
It is
because
not when
we've
it
seen
comes to
Spotify
capitalism.
just come out and the consumer said, no, thank you. We need a disclaimer and we need the rules to be stricter, and it worked. So
I don't know
ethics,
if it worked.
we got bigger
Did
rules.
they discipline
and
Joe Rogan?
They took out 42 episodes and he now has a disclaimer. I'm simply saying that consumers can change those companies with the way they use their wallet. And I think ethics might not for Zuckerberg, who knows, but for some others, that's really important.
It's very important.
It's going to take everybody to do it, though.
What about our future generations? What about the fact that we saw all these different studies and statistics that our children now are that much more apt to be suicidal because of things like Facebook? And again, I don't want this to be all about Facebook's bad. I mean, in fact, Facebook, I've had a whole change of thought about Facebook over the past year because it really did help get our Eric, my brother-in-law, who passed away from COVID, may God rest his soul, it got his story out there quickly.
Yep.
And it gave us so much support. It created such a community. I thank Facebook for that. But you can always tweak, you can always perfect, and I think the ethics part of it and getting rid of the troll farms part of it is a way to evolve.
I just don't think Zuckerberg can.
These are people that are only driven by money. That's how you get $230 billion. If you got $250 million, I would never see Jeff again.
But Jack Dorsey kicked people off because of ethics. So you can't say all of them are not unethical. He kicked Marjorie Taylor Greene, people off with disinformation on both sides.
We'll continue the conversation in our break.
He kept Trump on for 4 years.
Go to our YouTube. Go to our YouTube. We're going to continue the conversation. I do want to reveal the final vote. It looks like 57% of our viewers are active on Facebook. Very interesting.
About right.